Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. So glad you're joining us.
Great to be diving in again.
We've got a really interesting one today. And just a quick reminder, this deep dive is made by our YouTube channel, The Psychology Hour. We'd be so glad if you like and subscribe to us there.
Definitely. Okay, so today we're talking about something that's, well, it's kind of taken the internet by storm lately. It's this idea called the let them theory.
Right, the let them theory. And at first glance, it sounds maybe a bit passive or simple, like just let them.
Exactly. It seems counterintuitive, maybe, but the core idea is actually incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it's really about finding peace and maybe a different kind of control, like control over yourself by, letting go of trying so hard to control other people.
That's it precisely. And today, we're going to unpack what this theory really means. We'll dig into why it's hitting such a nerve for so many people right now.
And importantly, we'll share some genuinely useful tips, not the super obvious ones, but practical ways you can actually apply this in your life.
Yeah, things that can help with everything from, say, feeling left out or dealing with annoying logistics like wedding seating charts.
Oh, yeah.
All the way to, really tough stuff like supporting loved ones or just stopping yourself from trying to manage everyone else's feelings.
So definitely stay with us until the end to get these insights. It's about how leaning into let them can actually bring more peace and, well, agency back into your life.
Okay, so let's break it down. What is the let them theory at its heart?
Fundamentally, it's about deciding to stop. Stopping the effort to force other people to, well, match your expectations.
Or to behave in the way you think they should behave.
Right. And the action part is, it sounds simple, just let them.
Let them be who they are. Let them make their choices, even if you don't like those choices or weren't expecting them.
And the real kicker, the power shift, happens then, right?
Exactly. Because when you stop trying to, mold them or control the situation, their actions, their choices, they actually show you who they are in that moment.
And that's where your power comes back, because then you get to choose. What do I do next based on this reality?
It pulls you out of that emotional tug of war.
That constant struggle, the angst.
Yeah. And it creates space. Space for them to take responsibility for their own stuff.
And it changes how you see them, doesn't it? You start dealing with the actual person in front of you.
Instead of the potential you see or the person you wish they were.
Right.
It forces you into reality.
There's that great analogy, about being in a tiny boat.
Paddling upstream.
Yeah, paddling like mad against this really strong current. That's what it feels like when you're trying to control everything and everyone. It's just exhausting. It's a fight.
So let them is like dropping the oars.
Dropping the oars. You stop fighting the current. The boat turns, floats downstream easily.
It's not giving up.
Right.
It's surrendering to what's actually happening.
Yeah, instead of battling it.
Okay, so why? Why is this seemingly simple idea resonating so much right now? Why has it gone viral? Well, I think it taps into something universal. We all struggle with wanting to control things.
Outcomes, situations, other people, especially other people.
Definitely. And the theory kind of acts like a check. It's not just about letting them be. It's also about stopping your own controlling tendencies.
Or those obsessive thoughts.
Right. Stopping them from controlling you.
And where does that need to control even come from?
Often it's anxiety, right? Fear, uncertainty. It can look like being overbearing.
Sometimes people think they're doing it out of love, like, I'm just looking out for you.
But it ends up feeling suffocating. And honestly, sometimes it's just easier to focus on other people's problems.
Gives you the illusion of control.
Totally. But you can't really control other people.
Yeah.
You can try to manipulate maybe or guilt them.
But actual control. Only over yourself, your reactions, your choices.
And let them. Helps pivot that focus back to you, where the real power is.
It can also be a distraction, right? Focusing on how things should be.
Yeah. Or how you're used to them being. Because, well, uncertainty is uncomfortable. Control feels safer. But it often just stops you from dealing with what's actually happening.
Okay. Got the concept, got why it's hitting home. Let's get practical. What are some less obvious but really useful ways to actually use this theory?
Okay, great. So the first big one is using it for emotional detachment.
And you don't mean being cold or uncaring when you say detachment.
No, not at all. It's about detaching from the struggle. That internal mental emotional fight you get into when you're thinking about what someone else did or how things should be going.
Okay. So it's a path to finding your own peace.
Exactly. Think about those times you'd feel yourself getting really, worked up, annoyed, hurt about something someone else is doing.
Yeah, something your frustration isn't actually going to change.
Right. Like, friends didn't invite you out, let them. Dating someone who doesn't want commitment, let them.
Kids don't want to do the activity you planned.
Let them. Or the classic wedding seating chart thing.
Right.
You're not with the friends you expected.
Ugh, that stings. The instinct is to feel slighted.
Right.
Rejected.
Totally. But let them encourages this kind of radical acceptance. Okay, they made the charts that way. Let them. Friend took a trip without you. Let them.
It challenges that need to take everything personally, to be offended.
Because your anger, your hurt, while it's a real feeling, it rarely changes the other person's choice in that moment.
Yeah.
By letting go of the fight about it.
You find peace. You accept what is.
And you free up so much emotional energy. There was that story. Someone was really hurt because their family never visited them in Vermont.
Right, they kept declining invitations.
Yeah, and this person was stuck in that hurt. But eventually they shifted, kept inviting, but like let go of needing them to say yes, gave them space.
And what happened?
Well, without that pressure, that unspoken disappointment, the family eventually shared the real reason. Something about a tough childhood memory there.
Wow.
And giving them that space, that let them space, allowed for honesty. And eventually they did plan a visit. It shows that letting go can actually lead to understanding, not just giving up.
Okay, that's powerful. What's the second way?
The second key way is using it to let people fail and grow.
Ooh, that sounds potentially tough.
It can be. It's about giving people the room they need, and sometimes the nudge from reality they need to learn, to develop, to take personal responsibility.
Because sometimes the best lessons come from, well, messing up.
Exactly. Experiencing the sting, the natural consequence of forgetting something or making a mistake or even failing if you're always swooping in to rescue.
You actually stop them from growing.
You can stunt their growth, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the school policy about forgotten lunches.
Sounds harsh, but teaches responsibility.
Right. Or missing an application deadline. Painful lesson, but you learn to build systems.
And this applies in really serious situations too, like addiction.
It does. And it's incredibly difficult. But often, people find sobriety when they are ready, forcing rehab, constantly bailing someone out. It can enable the behavior. It prevents them hitting that point where they decide change is necessary.
It's not just huge things either, like constantly helping someone out with money.
Yeah, you think you're helping, but you might be teaching dependence, robbing them of the chance to learn from the consequences, to figure it out themselves.
This really hits at people-pleasing tendencies too, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Are you always the one doing everything? The kids' laundry when they're old enough? Hosting every holiday? Making all the plans? Picking up slack at work?
Guilty. Sometimes.
Let them, says. Let others handle their own responsibilities. Let your brother host. Let friends figure out dinner. Let colleagues do their jobs.
You can still support them, cheer them on.
Of course. Offer advice if they ask, but let them do the work.
Yeah.
Every time you rescue someone from a task or a consequence, you take away a chance for them to build their own strength.
Okay. Detachment, letting fail and grow. What's the third one?
This might be the most powerful one. It's simply let people be themselves.
Meaning?
Allowing people the freedom to be who they actually are, right now. Quirks, flaws, everything. And, crucially, letting them be who they are not.
So it's about the difference between relating to someone's potential
The person you think they could be?
versus relating to their reality, who they are right now.
Exactly. Because trying to change someone to fit your idea of their potential, it feels terrible to them. It constantly says, you're not good enough as you are.
And if you spend all your energy complaining, even just internally, about what you wish they'd change, their habits, their communication, their choices,
You're stuck focusing on what you don't like, what you wish was different. And that blinds you to who they actually are.
so letting them be themselves, it lets you see clearly.
Yes, without the distortion field of your expectations or your management attempts. And that clarity is what empowers you to make real choices about the relationship based on reality.
How does this connect to something like jealousy?
Jealousy is often about control, right? Trying to control who your partner sees, what they do, because you're insecure, afraid you're not loved enough.
Yeah, like worrying about time spent with kids from a previous marriage or friends or hobbies.
But trying to control out of jealousy, it almost always backfires. It kills trust. Letting go, accepting they have other important parts of their life, allowing them that space, that's an act of acceptance, of love.
And paradoxically, it fosters more love and trust back.
Often, yes. And it frees you from that awful feeling of jealousy.
It also applies to just letting people have their emotions, right? Without trying to fix them.
Totally. Someone's angry, sad, frustrated, has an opinion you hate. The instinct is to argue, fix it, talk them out of it.
But the power is in just listening, witnessing.
Validating the feeling. I hear you're frustrated. That sounds really hard. It lets them feel seen, but it takes you off the hook. You don't have to rescue them or change how they feel.
Like letting your daughter just be frustrated about timing without trying to reason her out of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Just let her have the feeling. It passes.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly liberating, but there must be times when let them is not the answer.
Absolute critical point. Yes. Yeah. This is not a blanket permission slip. There are times you absolutely cannot just drop the oars.
Okay, like when?
First, dangerous situations. Obvious one, maybe, but crucial. Someone's about to do something genuinely dangerous. Drunk driving is the classic example. You must step in. That's not a let them moment. Safety first.
Right. Makes sense. What else?
Second, advocating for yourself. When you need to ask for something important, stand up for your rights. Negotiate your needs. Like salary negotiation.
Ah, good one. You don't just let them decide your salary.
No, you have to take control of that conversation, advocate for your value. So many people just accept the first offer. They literally let them decide. Don't do that.
Okay. Danger, self-advocacy. One more.
Third, boundaries. If you have clearly set and communicated your personal boundaries and someone keeps crossing them repeatedly.
You don't just let them walk all over you.
No. Holding a boundary requires action. It might mean consequences. It means standing firm, not passively accepting harmful behavior.
Got it. So danger, self-advocacy, and cross boundaries are times to not just let them.
Correct. You need to step up, take action, hold your ground in those cases.
Okay, so for the times when let them is the right approach, when you feel that pull to control or that frustration building up, how do you actually do it? How do you shift gears?
Great question. There are 3 quick sort of self-coaching questions you can ask yourself in that moment.
Okay, tool number 1.
Ask yourself, what am I afraid of?
What does that do?
It helps uncover the fear that's often driving the need to control. Sometimes it's kind of absurd, like worrying about rain ruining prom pictures at a taco shop.
Right.
But sometimes it's a real valid fear, like with addiction. Naming the fear lets you look at it. Is it absolutely certain to happen right now? Or am I projecting?
Okay. What's the second tool?
Ask, whose business am I in?
Whose business? What does that mean?
It's about distinguishing between your business, your thoughts, feelings, actions, what you can control, and their business, trying to control them, their choices, their feelings, or even God's business, like external events.
So the goal is to get back into my business.
Always. Recognize when you've drifted into theirs, feeling left out by friends. Are you in their business, wondering why they didn't invite you? Or can you get back to yours? What can I do now? Nurture other connections, plan something myself.
Makes sense. And the third tool?
This one's maybe the simplest compass. Ask yourself, what feels more like peace?
Use peace as a guide.
Exactly. Does trying to control this or obsessing over what they did, does that feel like peace?
Oh, that feels like paddling upstream, fighting.
Right. Does letting go, accepting what is, focusing on my response, to feel more like peace, like dropping the oars, floating?
Usually, yes.
So choose the path towards internal peace, not the illusion of external control or that cycle of rumination.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, the core message here with the let them theory is really about finding this incredible power, this freedom, this deep sense of peace
that comes when you consciously decide to let go of that exhausting need to control other people.
And instead, you prioritize your own emotional peace, your own agency.
And giving others that freedom to be themselves, make choices, even to face consequences. It's not just a gift to them, letting them be authentic and grow.
It's maybe an even bigger gift to yourself.
Definitely. It brings peace, ease, and a truer sense of control, self-control back into your own life.
And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with, something that ties it together.
Go for it.
The more you practice this, the more you let the people around you just express themselves, show up as they are, live their lives, the less you will feel that constant draining urge to manage or control them. And you'll find that energy naturally redirects back to your own path, your own happiness, the things you can actually influence.
Beautifully put. And just the necessary reminder, this deep dive is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for advice from a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive on the let them theory. We really hope these ideas and questions offer you a fresh perspective on control and peace.
Hope it was helpful.
And remember, this podcast is made by our YouTube channel, The Psychology Hour. We're always glad if you like and subscribe to us there. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.